absolutely textbook in line with a narcissistic batterer controller who, like, the violation of protective order, because nobody's going to tell him what to do, the law, the court. If he wants to go over to somebody's house,
Nothing like a good old Southern mic drop from the DA's office. Man, his facial expressions and denial, and I think she hit it on the head with the whole narcissistic thing, carries out through the entire hearing. We're going to watch 3 hearings today, and I'll unpack it at the end of each one. With that, let's jump in.
he's going to go over there.
Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Robert Charles Willis, DOC number 769-1111, 119.
119, got it. Okay, so Mr. Willis, could you sit up, please, so we can see your whole face? I can only see, there you go, that's better. Appreciate it. You heard the introductions. Did you hear the introductions of the panel?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
All right, well, let me do that. Let me introduce the panel to you. My name is Cheryl Renatza. To my left is Mr. Danny Barra, and to my right is Mr. Chucky Tillis. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize those who have joined us. We have Mr. Richard Upshaw, Ms. Crystal Upshaw, who both will be speaking. Leanna Fitzgerald with the Caddo Victims Assistance Coordinator's Office, and Kristen Parsons, also a Victim Assistance Coordinator with us. I will read some identifying information into the record, Mr. Willis. I'll ask you to verify that information. Then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barra. Your case has been assigned to him. He'll take the lead on the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Willis, you are Robert C. Willis. As you mentioned, your DOC number is 769-119. You are currently serving a 9-year, 6-month sentence, having been sentenced April 26, 2022 in Caddo Parish for aggravated battery and domestic abuse battery. You have a parole eligibility date, which was December 14, 2023, and your mandatory good time release date is May 5th, 2021. Does that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, would you answer Mr. Barra's questions, please?
Sure. Morning, Mr. Willis. Looking at your record, I had some questions about some of the prior stuff. On February 23rd, 1994, you pled guilty to aggravated assault and simple battery. Family violence and resisting an officer was dismissed as part of that plea. Can you tell me what happened in that case and who was the victim in that case? Was it the same person?
No, sir. It was my ex-wife. I vaguely remember that. I think she and I had got into an argument about my clothes. I was supposed to go out and wanted my clothing, and she wouldn't give them to me. I think that's the incident.
About clothes, and it turned into a simple battery and family violence.
Right, right.
All right, well then, after that one, on January 15, 2003, you pled guilty to violation of a protective order. Who filed that protective order against you? Was that the same ex-wife?
Right. Yes, yes.
And what happened there when you violated that protective order?
Again, I was supposed to go over and get my belongings. She had called me and asked me if she could borrow like $40. And I was supposed to go over and get my clothes if I gave her the $40. But I tried to call her and she never would answer the phone. So I went over anyway. So I go over and there's a guy sitting in the house. So I broke into the house.
But you did know there was a protective order against you at that time?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. All right. So it's still the same person right there.
Right.
On October 29th, 2010, you pled guilty to domestic abuse battery. Is that still the same ex-wife?
No.
No, someone different?
Right.
Who was that one?
That was my ex-girlfriend, Nita Bloomer.
And what happened there to get you arrested for domestic battery?
She and I got into an argument over, I had got a phone call on my phone, and she was going through my phone when I came out of the bathroom. Tried to get my phone, she threw it and broke it. And from there, you know, we got into a tussle over that. I picked her up, set her on the outside of the house, told her to leave. She came back in, hit me in the head with a belt buckle. And we got into a disagreement with that.
All right. Then on March 25th, 2011, a little bit, almost a year later, aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon gets dismissed. Can you tell me what happened in that case that got dismissed and who was the victim in that case?
2011,
Yeah, March 25th, 2011. You had an aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon. The charge ended up getting dismissed. You didn't go to court. The charge got dismissed.
I don't remember that. That 2010 was the last one.
You don't remember nothing about 2000 happened there in
2011, no.
Okay, well, let's move up to the current case, this case that we're here to talk about right now. In this case, why did you tase and stab Crystal Upshaw? What was the problem? What caused that to happen?
I didn't hear you.
In this current case that you're asking us for parole for right now, why did you feel you needed to tase and stab Crystal Upshaw? What did she do? What did you do? What was the problem with that? What caused that to happen?
Sir, she was never tased. There was never a taser or anything found. Even the police said that. She and I had got into a disagreement over a cell phone. I had put some, or I tried to put some cell phone blocks on the phone that her daughter had, but I didn't think the things would have gone through. But they did. Her daughter tried to use the phone that morning and she couldn't. So she comes in all angry and upset about me putting the blocks on the phone, telling me to leave. She was hitting on me. And I should have just got my phone and keys and left, sir. But that's not what happened. She and I got into a physical altercation, and sir, there's nothing I can do to justify picking up a knife. I can't justify that. I have to take the blame for that. My life wasn't in danger or anything like that. There's nothing I can say to that, sir. There's nothing I can say to justify that.
Right.
Yeah.
So why do you think we should grant you parole today? Why are you a changed man than the guy that I see here on paper? What's different now than it was during all the times I asked you about the past, you know? Why would we think we should let you go?
Sir, back then I had to have things my way, sir. I was somebody who wanted to control things, and me being in here and going through my Celebrate recovery, starting my recovery through Christ and Malachi Dads and all of that, my classes and everything I've taken. I'm just learning, sir, that it's just best to walk away from some situations. I didn't think about the consequences of anything. Now, I can see the consequences of it, sir. And the consequences of it are me being here. There's nobody to blame but me for being in here. I can't blame her. She's to blame for what she did. I'm to blame for what I did. I'm to blame for being here. She's not to blame for that. I'm here for what I did. And I'm not here to defame her or talk bad about her. I'm not going to do that. I take full responsibility for what I did. And I'm trying to correct that here. And I hope I've done that. I'm trying to. And I think, you know, I just want to get my life back together. That's all. I just want to move on. And if I can do that, I'm good. I'm good.
Have you been in trouble while you're there? Have you had any write-ups, any fighting? Have you had any write-ups for fighting or any kind of write-ups while in prison?
While in prison,
Yeah, since you've been there.
I came down with COVID-19. First couple of weeks that I got to jail, and they thought I was gonna die. And I don't remember the incident, but because I was out of it most of the time, but they bought me some paperwork and told me that the guy that I was in the cell with attacked me in the cell. I don't remember it. I was out of it. And they put him in lockdown. So that's the only incident with that I've had. And I don't even remember that clearly.
Can anyone staff at the location there verify that that is correct, that it was only one violation? Is anybody there?
That didn't happen at this facility. That happened in my parish in Canada.
No.
But at this facility, I hadn't had any problems or anything. Nothing like that. It's been pretty good here. Been pretty good. I get along with everybody here. Staff, inmates, everything. I get along with everybody.
All right. That's the end of my question.
So when you mentioned, Mr. Willis, we were talking about the current incident with the cell phone and Ms. Upshaw and the child's phone. How old was that child?
I think she was 9 at the time.
So this stabbing took place in front of her?
I think so.
Well, that's a yes or no. Yes or no? Yes or no?
I believe so.
And how many times did you stab Ms. Upshaw?
Once.
Okay. So when you were, you mentioned, you haven't had any issues since you've been there, and you mentioned you're celebrating recovery. What other programs have you been able to take?
I've taken the Malachi Dad's program. I'm in the Recovery Through Christ program now. I've had the Living in Balance 1 and 2, Change Your Age, and the anger management classes that
What'd you learn from anger management?
I've learned, ma'am, that you don't blame anybody for your actions. And that's what I've been doing. I've been blaming people for my actions. And I'm responsible for that. You know, I could have walked away instead of turning around, coming back. I should have just kept going, you know, especially with the situation the way it was. But I take responsibility for that, you know, learning just to walk away. And there's just some things that are just not worth arguing or fighting. Some things just best to walk away from. And if there's nothing.
How long have you been in jail, Mr.
Say anything.
Mr. Willis? How long have you been in jail?
I've been in jail going on 4 years.
So you've served about 4 years of your 9.5-year sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
And how old are you?
55.
You are classified as a first offender, but Mr. Barra went over some other arrests. So you've been in jail before. Is this the longest period of time you've been in jail?
Yes.
All right. Sergeant Thorpe, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Willis?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Willis is our trustee out here in our offices in the, we call it the drug building, but it's where we have all our classes and everything. And, he's having some medical issues, and I'm trying to get the nurse to see if I can get her to come out here so she could tell y'all what was going on with his medical issues, if that's okay. You have time for me to get her out here?
Is she close?
She's probably about 3 minutes out.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and move on and hear from those who want to speak, and we'll hear from her right at the end.
All right, thank you so much.
And ma'am, I have my cousin, she had wanted to participate, and Miss Book had sent her information in, her phone number and everything. So
We haven't heard from her this morning, so I don't know if she's having some difficulties, but we're gonna go ahead and move on, Mr. Willis. We'd like to hear from, if there are no other questions. I'm sorry.
No, thank you, answered. That's the ones I wanted to know.
Could we hear from Mr. Richard Upshaw? Still on the phone?
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
If you are granted parole, where are you probably planning to go back? Because it seems like the history that you had with your girlfriends and your ex-wife, you continue to have a relationship with them. Where would you go to live?
I had a cousin that lives out in the country that spoke to me and said that, I can come and live with him until I get my own place back in Shreveport.
So that's where your girlfriend and the ex-wife is?
Is that where I'm going?
Is that where your girlfriend and your ex-wife is?
They live in Shreveport.
So you plan to go back, or you'll probably be around them again?
No, sir. Probably be in the same city, but no, not hanging out. No. No.
Mr. Upshaw? We're trying to, Mr. Upshaw's logging in. Mr. Upshaw, are you with us? There you are. Sir, we'd like to hear what you'd like us to know.
Okay, I just feel like that Mr. Willis already got a break. I think he already got a break because he committed this crime in front of my grandchild, right? In front of a small child. And he got 3 years extra, I believe, for that, but it runs concurrent. So in the real world, he's really not serving any extra time for that. So that gives him 2 for 1 on 3 of his years already. I would like y'all to consider the fact that he actually planned this out. He had it planned out. He brought the stun gun and the knife, whatever he used, with him that day. He wasn't living there anymore. He came up and asked her, could he just come in and lay down and take a nap? This was planned out. If I had not answered the phone that morning, my daughter would not be here. He told her he was going to kill her. And if he had successfully killed her, what do you think he would have done with the only witness to that being my granddaughter? I don't think I would have either one of them today. So I don't think he's learned his lesson. He's got a past history of violence with women already. And I just don't think he should be getting out. I don't think he served enough time to be fair punishment for what he did.
Yes, sir, Mr. Upshaw. Thank you. We appreciate so much you sharing those thoughts with us.
Yes,
Crystal, Ms. Fitzgerald, is Crystal with you?
Good morning. Yes, ma'am. Crystal's right here to my right.
Okay, good. Crystal, good morning. We'd like to hear from you, ma'am.
I just want to talk a little bit about the stuff that happened to me, my injuries. I got stabbed multiple times. The worst one was the one in my face. It went all the way through. This whole side of my mouth it no longer works. I can't use mouthwash. If I go out to eat, food falls out of my mouth. I have several other scars all over my body where the knife just sliced me. He threw me around and beat me for so long that I had a collapse and punctured lung, and I had a chest tube for 4 days. I spent about 5 days in the hospital and another week and a half at home and missed a lot of work. I still have really bad anxiety and PTSD from it. And it's not only me, it's my daughter. She's just now gaining back a little bit of peace of mind to be able to go to school and or go outside and think everything's okay. She still doesn't do a lot of stuff without me. She's got really bad separation anxiety. But we're just doing our best to get through it. And no time will ever be enough time. But I think it's too soon for him to be released.
Ms. Fitzgerald?
Uh,
Unless they can see me on there or not. Hi, how are you?
Before we hear from Ms. Fitzgerald, we'd like to go ahead and hear from the nurse. Is that okay, Ms. Fitzgerald?
yes, please, thank you.
Go ahead, ma'am. If we could adjust the camera just slightly downward.
Come adjust this and turn them. I can't hear it.
There we go. A little better. All right, ma'am, we can hear you just fine. You want to tell us a little bit about some health issues?
Yes, ma'am. He's been having some recent health issues with anemia. He had a bunch of tests done at the hospital. He was having some severe diarrhea and things like that. So what we're working on, I haven't put his paperwork in yet. Doctor's watching his labs. He had a hemoglobin of like 7.6, which is on the borderline of receiving blood. We put him on iron, but he's got a gastrointestinal consult to go to. We don't have an appointment on that yet. But doc diagnosed him with severe anemia. So we really don't know what's going on yet, but we're waiting to get results.
Well, we appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you. We appreciate you sharing that with us.
If there's anything else, I can send you paperwork if you need it also.
I will put a copy in the file if you'll send it over.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Willis, before we move to Ms. Fitzgerald to close it out for us, I have one question, then I'm going to ask you for your closing statement. The child in question that we're talking about, Rania, I don't really know how to pronounce her name, the 9-year-old child who was present. Was that your child as well?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so that's Miss Crystal's child, not your biological child.
Right.
Is there a statement you'd like to say to us before we turn it over to Ms. Fitzgerald?
Yes, ma'am. I never tased anybody. I never came or planned out anything. I was still staying there at the time. I came there, what Mr. Upshaw said was true. I came there to lay down and because I slept in the car all night. And I thought everything was pretty good, so I decided I was going to get up and go and leave. I'd already started looking for me somewhere to go. I'd already decided that at the end of the month that I was going to move. She didn't know that. She suspected that. But I never planned out anything as to come there and do anything to anybody. I never tased anybody. There was a taser never found at the scene or anywhere. She never had any taser marks on her anywhere. That never happened. The other parts of it, that's true, what she said. That's true. The taser part never happened. Punctured lung, all of this, I don't know anything about that. I heard that at the trial. You know, it was never mentioned in any paperwork, even in her statement, if you had it, that she said herself that she never had they don't know why her lung collapsed, that there was no knife mark wound done to her lung. None of that, ma'am. None of that. But like I said, I'm not gonna try to make her look bad or anything. Like I said, I'm to blame for all of that. I'm to blame for what I did, and she has a right to feel the way she feels. Her dad has a right to feel the way he feels. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I understand that, but I'm trying to do everything I can to get myself together so I can get my life restarted.
Okay. Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much. We're going to move on to Ms. Fitzgerald. Would you close it out for us?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. I'm Leone Fitzgerald. I'm the director of the Victim Assistance Program for the Caddo Parish DA's office. And I'm here with Crystal today, but I would like to speak on behalf of the office. Of course, we oppose parole for Mr. Willis. I've been waiting for him to give me something that would give me a little hope about him, but unfortunately, I mean, he pretty much just sounds like the victim in all of this. I'm glad that Mr. Barra went through his rap sheet with him, because when you look at it, it's not the worst rap sheet that I've ever seen, but it is absolutely textbook in line with a narcissistic batterer controller who, like, the violation of protective order, because nobody's going to tell him what to do, the law, the court. If he wants to go over to somebody's house, he's going to go over there. And all of the explanations that he gave were what the other person did. And I never heard him really say, I did a dumb thing, or I knew I wasn't supposed to go over there, but I did it anyway. It was just going to get my clothes. Or we argued over her throwing his phone and got into a tussle. Well, how does, everyone's husband might have thrown their phone, but that doesn't mean somebody ends up getting arrested. So I'm very unimpressed with the way that Mr. Willis recounted his previous criminal history. And then, just to focus on what he's here for today, I'm amazed at how poor his memory can be about things that were very significant, like not remembering if Renea was there whenever he attacked Crystal. She was very much there. She was very much scared to death, and he was actually convicted of domestic abuse with child endangerment, which means that it was proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he did this in the presence of a minor. But it's so insignificant to him that he doesn't even remember if she was there or not. I don't know why Mr. Willis is so adamant about denying the business with the taser, because it was talked about in his jury trial. Miss Upshaw very much was tased. In fact, she's given me permission to show a scar that she still has right here from a taser, even though Mr. Willis seems to know that she doesn't have any scars from it. This was a prolonged attack. This man took a knife to this lady, and you've heard about the lasting scars that she has, the lasting results from it, the injuries, the effect that it still has on her, drooling when she tries to eat. So I don't think that Mr. Willis is very aware of how his behavior and his violence affects other people. And for a 9-year-old child to have to witness something like this being done to her mother and live with the aftermath and be scared to be away from her mother, and he doesn't even remember if she was there. So I think that he's willing to admit to the knife to this board because the knife was found, and he can't deny that. But he won't admit to the taser, because what does he keep saying? There was no taser found. There was no taser found. Well, just because it wasn't found didn't mean that he didn't use it. So I think he's admitting to just enough and saying just enough to accept responsibility to bamboozle this board so that he can get out and go on to do the same thing to more unsuspecting women. So on behalf of the DA's office, I respectfully request that you deny his parole. If the court does see fit to grant him parole, we would ask that he not be allowed to return to Caddo Parish. I'm sure none of his victims want him here, and that would definitely put Crystal and her daughter in great fear and cause them even more anxiety to know that he was back here in the city of Shreveport. So thank you very much for letting me speak.
All right, and thank you, and we appreciate your participation. Mr. Willis?
Ma'am, can I say something?
No, we're ready to vote now. We're prepared to vote. Mr. Byra will be voting first.
Before I vote, I just want to add to the record something that did not come out, was that there's extremely strong law enforcement opposition. The judge is opposed, the sheriff is opposed, as you heard, the DA is opposed, chief of police is opposed, and that's all in the towns where you committed the crime and want to go back to. So today, I vote to deny the parole based on the serious nature of the crime you committed in this case and your prior history of violent behavior, the strong law enforcement opposition and victim opposition.
Okay, Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Willis, it seems like you're trying to make some progress, and that's good. Sound like you admitted to what you've done, and that's good. I think you need some more training. Seem like you have a problem with, like you said yourself, being in charge, and you can't do that all the time. And because of the crime that you've done, I think some more training, and you probably keep your nose clean and keep going. I'm going to have to deny also.
Mr. Willis, you do have some really some letters in the record of support from the folks there at the facility where you're at. You're really doing a good job, and they speak very highly of it. That doesn't negate, though, what we've heard today in the strong opposition. And, I do agree that with Mr. Upshaw about your sentence, I think you got a light sentence, but I think you need some more training. I would encourage you, if you have, if it's available to you there, to take the victim awareness class. I think you would benefit from that and have a better understanding of all your victims. My vote today is to deny based on the strong opposition that's been expressed today and the history of domestic abuse violence. But I do wish you well. I hope that you stay the course and you continue working on yourself, like you said. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
That concludes our business in Concordia. Thank you, Sergeant Thorpe, for accommodating us. We're going to sign off at 9:37.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a blessed day.
Wow, what a clown. I don't know who this ADA is, but I love her. The way that she had those mic drops with her like classic Southern style. I love it. I loved her. I need to see her more. I'm out of the studio. I'm traveling again. And so I'm doing this out of the hotel room. And I'm doing my day job thing. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I know I act like I'm full-time, but this doesn't, I have my full-time job. And Richard, who's literally, I know all I talk about him every stream, but he's been recording all the things while I've been traveling. And then he said, Andy, you got to check this out. So on the taxi ride to the hotel, I got off the plane, I listened to this and we'll do 2 other hearings. I said, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna, this is the first thing I'm doing as I got in. But it was just, I love what she said. He's a textist, a batterer, a controller. He keeps violating against his protection order. And look at his face. And man, the faces he was making when they were talking, it was just classic. The ADA hit it on the nose. And it's there's just something about these people. Man found guilty of beating, stabbing woman in front of her young child. And he thinks he's so clever. He doesn't realize he's so narcissistic, and we see them in true crime off, take the stand, the ones that think they can convince a jury, the ones that even represent themselves. And they all fit in this bucket of super narcissism that they simply do not understand how the world perceives them. I mean, you can even see in his face when he's getting this picture taken, he's probably saying, "How long?" And it's like, you know, it started off, the first like lie he did, it started off when they brought up one of his crimes that he wasn't convicted for, and he plays it off that, you know, nothing ever, no, that never happened, because he thought he can get away with it. Then he says the taser, there was no taser, even the police said there was no. How she had a punctured lung, I don't know. She, even when she took the stand, said that she didn't know. I am here not to blame her. I'm not going to blame her for her faults. I'm here to take responsibility. It's like, you clown. The lighting is so bad. I tried messing around with it. Oh my gosh, you clown. It's just all I can think about it. And then it was weird. The preacher, I don't know. At first I kept making excuses for the preacher. I'm like, wow, a preacher who doesn't like the sound of his own voice. A few words. He's, talks softly, carries a big stick, which maybe you could say he still does that. But I'm not. I just haven't been impressed with him. And he said something that upset me. He said in his final statement, what did he say? He said, "It seems you take for what you've done." In so many words, he said something like that. I was like, don't say that. No, he hasn't taken accountability. Don't give him that. Don't take away from the victims, from the survivors. Why do you say that? That ticked me off. Man. Let's go over the actual court document, the appeal, because thank you, Richard, for providing it, because here's where we'll get all the real stuff, right? Can you imagine that he even decided June 8th, 2023. It was just decided a year ago, his appeal. He's getting out anyways in a year. You can clearly see he's a danger to the public. You can clearly tell that he is, that there's a good chance that he might end up killing someone, in my opinion. And they still only gave him a 9.5 year sentence for what should have been, I think, attempted murder. But let's see. Let's go through it. And it was a jury trial. It was a jury trial. And you would think when someone goes on a jury trial that the judge would give a proper. The defendant and victim had a stained and volatile romantic relationship, which began roughly 4 years before the incident. At the time of the incident, they resided together along with the victim's minor child. Both the defendant and the victim had admitted at trial that they had heated conflict on previous occasions. The victim admitted it with a remote control. Ooh, the remote control. The defendant denied having ever struck her before the day in question, but gave a drastically more severe account of her prior violence. He testified that in November 2019, she held a knife to his throat and threatened to cut him. The defendant also stated that she, including a lid to a clothes hamper. Regarding the incident in this case, the victim testified that the defendant initiated the violence when he punched her in the face 3 times. She would like this appeal. This is like properly detailing everything. We don't always get that. She was in the process of calling her father when the defendant did this. Her phone fell to the floor, and she managed to get the call out to her father before the defendant kicked her in the ribs, which sent her flying across the room. She screamed, "Dad!" Oh my God. We saw her dad. Can you imagine hearing those words from your daughter? As the defendant picked up the phone and ended the call, the defendant stabbed a knife blade into the victim's jaw and told her to bleed. He also slashed her shoulder, arm, and side with the blade. The defendant continued to punch, kick, and throw her across the room. The defendant admitted to kicking and stabbing her in his testimony. The defendant told the victim that he intended to kill her and then kill himself, and that he stopped beating and stabbing her when she agreed to get herself and her daughter in the car and leave with him. He insisted on bringing the knife wherever they went. Notably, during the incident, the victim, minor child, was present and watching the violence. And he's like, I don't know, was she there? I don't know. Oh, that was another of the best part. He's sitting rotting in prison with diarrhea. I love how the medical staff brought that up. Oh man, it's like this narcissistic monster. Like he's still saying that and his ego for that to be announced to the world to hear. The defendant testified that during the argument he tried to leave and indicated that he was ending their relationship. He stated that upon hearing this, the victim took his keys, blocked his through the doorway, and started throwing his clothing everywhere. At this point, the defendant picked up a knife and told her to get out of the way. Also, he called her a garden tool. The defendant claims that the victim responded to this insult with a furious attack. She hit him while he had his back to her, striking him in the head. And I could just see him testifying in front of the jury. And she struck me in the back of the head with the boot and her fists, which made him trip and fall on the bed. He testified that only then did he begin to strike or stab her. He claimed that she kept attacking him, even though he would push her back with the knife. He was just defending himself, right? Each time, and what he did not know, he had punctured her when she kept coming at him. He kept slashing at her with the knife. While in police custody, the defendant also admitted that aside from the boot, the victim was unarmed during the incident, but she did have a big old mighty boot. You know, you got to be careful of that boot. That is a dangerous weapon in at least 15 states. Furthermore, he was completely uninjured after the incident, except for an alleged knot on his head, which he apparently did not mention in his medical examination upon his arrest. During the incident, the victim's father, who testified at the trial, called 911 as he heard her cry for help with terror in her voice. The first officer responded to the call. Deputy Chris Stafford testified that when he initially saw the defendant, he was armed with a large butcher knife and had blood all over his arm as he exited the home. The officer drew his weapon and commanded the defendant to drop the knife, but the defendant instead went back inside, still holding the knife. He again went after the victim with the knife. Oh my God. But she locked herself and her daughter in the bedroom. Her father literally saved her life by calling the police, and then the police saved her life by doing their job. Can you imagine? The officer heard screaming and approached the doorway with his weapon drawn. At that point, the defendant complied. Frankly, he's lucky the officer didn't do too good of a job. The victim was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. She suffered severe injuries, including a collapsed or punctured lung. I don't know what she's talking about with the punctured lung, which I'm sorry if I'm being obnoxious, but this guy is so narcissistic that he, in my opinion, deserves this mockery, which necessitated her being intubated. She had 4 knife wounds that needed stitches, as well as bruising and residual problems with her jaw. She testified that her jaw and facial muscles no longer function properly because of nerve damage from the stabbing. This causes fluids and loose consistency food to fall out of her mouth when she tries to eat or drink. Her chin and lip muscle spasms and cramp in her lip. Can you imagine having permanent pain with something that we get so much like basic joy out of, like eating, he has taken from her? Or at least greatly influenced. Wow. The defendant made statements to deputies after being handcuffed and Mirandized. He admitted to striking her in the chest and that he swung the knife after each time she hit him. He further admitted that the victim was unarmed. The forensic investigation revealed that the blood on the defendant's arm, on the knife's blade, on a t-shirt, on the home belonged to the victim when the blood was, and In the bedroom and bathroom, it was one to the floor, the wall, the outside the bathtub, the inside the bathtub, the other place, blah, blah, blah. The trial court allowed admission of the fact that the victim had been convicted of disturbing the peace in 2013, but excluded the fact that details underlining the supposedly DV incident. Defense counsel expressly consented to this limitation. The trial court also prohibited the defendant from introducing testimony regarding an alleged previous incident. Specifically in his testimony, the defendant launched into a story about how he and the victim had an argument at the victim's grandmother's house. He did this without being asked a question. Classic. He just starts going on a monologue on the stand without even being asked a question. That called for such an answer. The prosecution timely objected. The trial court sustained the objection. The defendant made no counter contemporaneous proffer with respect to the excluded evidence, nor can he provide. I love it. I love that he took the stand. The defendant admitted that he was convicted of aggravated assault in 1994 and was convicted of violation of protective order in 2003. He admitted in 2010 that he was convicted of DV, abuse battery, against his then girlfriend. His lawyer did not object until his answer to question 2 in the argument regarding the objection. I mean, this guy, like the DA said, is the typical, he's the typical batterer. He's dangerous. How does a man like this get convicted in court and not get a longer sentence than 9.5 years? You hear the honking? The city that I'm in, the traffic was so bad. It was so bad, I actually got the final mile. Weapon: when the offender intentionally inflicted serious bodily injury, carries a possible sentence of up to 15 years with or without hard labor. Aggravated battery, which carries 10 years maximum. Sentence lesser included offense with respect to the aggravated second degree. So what could he have gotten the maximum? So possible sentence of 15 years and 10. He could have gotten 25 years. I just don't get it. Was it the judge that just felt to give a lenient sentence, or conclusion, the defendant's conviction and sentence of aggravated battery and child endangerment are affirmed. I guess he was only convicted of aggravated battery and child endangerment. And I guess that's the prosecutor's fault for not bringing attempted murder. Why would the DA not? I'm trying to see if they brought other charges, but the jury only convicted of 2 of them, lesser charges. The defendant was charged with aggravated second-degree battery and child endangerment. No, that was it. Someone's got to explain this stuff to me. Why would the DA not have the higher charge of attempted murder? It clearly was. Someone's got to make this make sense. Am I not understanding this? DAs, you're going to court, you're going to trial. Are you really going to sit there and say the district attorney's like, no, I don't think a jury's going to convict him of that. So let's just not bring it. I mean, it could be attempted manslaughter. It could be, really? Her lungs were punctured. She spent 5 days in the hospital. He stabbed her through the mouth. I just don't understand. Okay, what do I know? I'm just a man do. So thank you, Richard, for providing the info, and we'll go to the next hearing. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Mr. Tucker.
And so tell us your full name and DOC number, Mr. Tucker.
DMARCUS Tucker. My DOC LLC is 763-858.
All right. So, Mr. Tucker, let me introduce your parole panel. My name is Cheryl Renatza. To my left is Mr. Danny Barra. To my right is Mr. Chucky Tillis. I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, ask you to confirm it, then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tillis. Your case has been assigned to him. He'll take the lead on the interview. Let me acknowledge we have some guests who joined us today. I want to speak in support of your parole request. You have your mother, Miss Pollard, Chantel Pollard, Ashley Tucker, your sister, and Chanteller Williams. Your children's uncle, I believe. I'm not sure. And we'll call on them at the appropriate time to give whatever information they'd like us to know. Mr. Tucker, you are classified as a first felony offender, currently serving a 20-year sentence. You were sentenced in Rapides Parish, October 7th, 2021. I have 4 different counts of simple burglary. You have a parole eligibility date, August 24th of 2024. Your good time is August 27th of 2025. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Would you answer any questions, Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Tucker, how you doing?
How you doing, sir?
All right, I read through your case several times, and it seems like you have a small problem with theft or burglary. What's going on? What's happening? Tell me about it.
Just being around, negative peer group. I can't blame anybody else but myself because I made that decision, and I had little problems, dealing with substance abuse, and like I say, just making the wrong bad choices and stuff like that.
You were doing this by yourself?
I had a file partner on this charge, but most of the times I did everything by myself.
I see. How long have you been incarcerated?
I've been incarcerated since September 4th, I believe, of 2019.
Have you taken any classes or training since you've been incarcerated?
Yes, sir. I took the initiative to write the Steve Hall Bozer program, and I did 9 months and got 345 days, I believe. I took parenting class, opioid class, MAT, living in balance, 1 and 2, risk management, 1 and 2, victim awareness, and I said parenting already, but I pretty much took all the resources that I needed to take to rehabilitate. And,
What kind of person you think you are now since you've been taking those classes, you're learning from them?
I'm more stronger in the mind. My religion is better. I'm a better person. And, I feel like I changed, and I take full responsibility of the decisions I made in the past, but I was double-minded back then. So, a double-minded man is unstable in all ways. And right now I'm up to focus and to get out there and be a positive, citizen in my environment instead of being a product of my environment.
Have you had any write-ups since you've been there?
No, sir.
You haven't had any?
No, sir. I've been on my best behavior.
That's good. That's good. No further questions.
Thank you.
Why do you think we should vote favorably for you today?
Can I hear that question again?
Why do you think we should vote for early release for you today?
Like I said before, I'm a better person. I took full responsibility of my actions, and all I can do is just show, my family, my support people that's around me, that I'm a changed person. And I feel it myself, and I'm gonna push forward and continue what I've been doing, like my 12 steps of the AA, and my people, my family, they have hired a family counselor for my, to stay ahead, so I can just keep myself on a schedule. I'm gonna work. I come from a working family, so You know, I'm gonna do everything I need to do to be a productive citizen of our society.
Thank you. Ms. Barr, any questions?
Any questions?
We'll hear, let's hear from the folks who are here today and want to talk to us about their support for you. Can we first hear from your mother? Ms. Shaw,
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
go ahead, ma'am. What would you like us to know?
I just want to say that, just like DeMarcus said, all the times that we've conversated over the phone, which is pretty regular, his mind has, his mind frame has changed for the better. And, like he said, we do have some counselor waiting, to support him as far as counseling, whatever he needs to get back on track and what he needs to do. And, I just hold on to what, he told me early on. He said, Mom, he said, I came in here as a young boy, but I plan to leave as a man. And so I'm holding on to that. And I believe that he is really worthy of a second chance.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We have your sister, Ms. Ashley Tucker.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I just wanted to piggyback off of what my mother said and also what DeMarcus said. He has progressed over time going in as a child. I feel like he was not fully developed and hanging out with the wrong peers. I'm sorry, I get emotional talking about it. But I do feel like he has grown. Before I wrote my letter of recommendation, I asked Mr. Tucker, how have you grown? Where do you see yourself at? When do you leave? Where do you want to be in life after this lesson has been learned? And what can we do to help support you? So he basically just told you guys basically everything I asked. And I feel like he's ready to be back into the society, and we will definitely help him outside. And that's all I have today.
And then we have Mr. Williams.
They logged off.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Williams is logged out. We have Mr. Barra has another question.
Got another question. I noticed after the arrest for this charge, you had on March 14th, 2019, Alexandria Police Department arrested you for second-degree rape, third-degree rape, and simple escape. Can you tell me how that all went down? What was the problem with there?
All right. There was charges that I had got arrested for in March. What you said, March 14th?
4th, 2019.
Okay.
You got arrested for this charge.
All right. Yeah, that's a no case, but I'm not ashamed to speak on something that's dealing with me. And I'm gonna give you the full, honest, body truth. That was something that I was messing with a little side friend, and I was dealing with my baby mama and stuff at the time, and they was homegirls at a point of time, and you know how that goes, dealing with something on the side, and and she basically got mad at me for I pretty much I'm not giving her the time of the day, and I just really just played her to the left, and she took it upon herself and her emotions and was mad at me and tried to really get me out the way and set me up with her sister that I had no intercourse, nothing consensual, I ain't did nothing with this person, and she took it upon herself to try to basically get me locked up and do me dirty to get out of my kids' life and mess up what I got going on with my baby mama, which it did work until everything come out the closet and the real come out and the facts come out. But that was nothing but a lie. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't raised to be like that. I'm a loving person, and you know, I'm well outspoken, and you know, I'm trustworthy and stuff like that. But as far as anything forcible, non-consensual, I don't. That's something that I wasn't raised like that, sir.
So you telling me that that was set up by your baby's mother to get you out of?
No, no, sir. That was set up by my baby mother's ex homegirl. Yeah, I was messing with her homegirl on the side.
Okay, and then the simple escape that had to do with the police officers when they went to arrest you. What happened there?
To be real, I did that to try to like, you know what I'm saying? Like they was trying to really mess over me, and they was like the detectives and stuff like that. I was trying to really clear my name up, and me being young and I wasn't trying to go in on that because this is my first time being in jail and I was scared. Especially charges like that, bro. Like, you know, like that. It's hard to live with them type of charges, but I know I'm right in my situation because everybody's situation is different. But I'm young and I'm scared at the time. I didn't want to come to jail.
But you just ran from them?
Yeah, I had ran. Eventually, I got caught, but I ain't make it that far.
What happens?
Yeah, ain't make it that
That answers that. I see that eventually all the charges got now processed. You would have probably done better off staying there and dealing with the problem than getting a simple escape charge to go with it. But
yeah,
you answered my question. Thank you.
Mr. Tillis?
I wanted to ask another question, I forgot. How far did you go in school?
My highest completion is 10th grade.
You ever thought about going back, trying to finish up?
I got my GED at Voltech. Yeah, I took an initiative and, you know, did that on my own. You know, I just got tired of just sitting around, not doing nothing, being in the streets and stuff like that. You know, my mama started telling me, you know, the most righteous things to do and stuff like that. So, you know, I came out a good household. You know, I was born inside the church. You know, I'm very spiritual, and you know, I just took it in my own to, you know, try to do better and try to change, and you know, just me being young and being around my homeboys, supposed to be partners, which not here today. You know, everything just add up, and it's just go. It's already written, so it's already like. Everything fall in line for a reason. Everything happened for a reason, you know. But I plan on when I get out there, I plan on getting my welding as far as further education of a trade. Going back to the same school that I got my GED from. So I got big plans.
All right.
Where do you plan on living and with who if you were to get out?
I'm gonna go back to my mom's house because I know that I always have a home to go to, and you know, and she gonna keep me on track, and she gonna stay on me anyway. But this is my decision in my life. I'm gonna stay on track, and this time, like I'm not coming back to this situation because I'd experienced this and I actually took a bout lesson instead of a bar lesson, and this is something that my mom always told me too: a bar lesson and a bout lesson. The difference is the bar lesson is something that you'd went through and you'd experienced and you tell me. So that's a bar lesson. A bout lesson is me right here talking to y'all through this tablet. So I experienced it myself and I don't want to experience this again.
Did you go through the Steve Ball program?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it the 90-day or the 9-month program? Which one?
The 9-month program.
The 9-month program?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you learn from that?
All right. Risk management. I learned that, you know, a lot of people be in denial and stuff like that, don't like to take actions of their responsibility. You know, I seek responsibility and I take actions for my responsibility. And the victim right now is my peers, you know, my support. You know, me hearing my mom and my sister talk highly about me and stuff like that, like that's real emotion, like, because they really know me. And I've been in the house with them, you know, I lived with them. so they really know, the outcome of what I could be. And I do have the potential because I feel that inside myself, So I'm not just the victim, that my family is the victim. I learned to be a better father, and pretty much like it just all this common sense, this stuff that we done already got taught as kids,
So how you gonna stay sober?
just say no to drugs. So drugs.
Say to us before we vote, anything else you want to say?
I appreciate the time that y'all took out y'all day to listen to me, and I want to thank my family for supporting me, and pretty much I have a blessed day.
Thank you. David. I think we're prepared to vote, Mr. Tillis?
Yes. Mr. Tucker,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to vote to grant you parole. And I hope that you you sound like you're on the right path.
Yes.
Your mother looks like somebody might try to keep you on that path, and I hope you don't disappoint her. My vote is to grant.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tucker, I'm gonna vote with Mr. Tillis on this one. However, I'm gonna add some special conditions on it.
Yes, sir.
And first special condition is that you live with your mother for at least 1 year. The first year, you're gonna stay there where you're grounded and solid. You're gonna pay restitution to your victims. You're gonna attend AA weekly for the entire period of parole, unless the parole officer relieves you of that. And then you're gonna get enrolled in a drug treatment class recommended by the probation officer, parole officer.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'll grant you parole.
I do concur with my colleagues. I think your mother's the one that's gonna help steer you in the right direction. You gotta listen to her though. She's just advice. You gotta make your own choices, and you've made some poor ones in the past. So listen to her wise counsel. Do you understand special conditions that Mr. Byra said to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Well, you granted parole. Good luck to you.
Thank y'all so much.
All right. Good luck.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you all so much.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being here. That can.
I don't know. I'm at a loss why you would grant. They literally, my only victim is my family. It's like they let him get away with the fact literally was locked up for sexually assaulting a child, 13 years old, multiple times, and then trying to run away from prison. And he says, "Oh, I was scared. I didn't do it. It was them who made it all up." And it's like, God, if you sentence for it, if you say you're guilty of it, then don't let him just take that away. What happens about the victim? I don't understand this. And I know this was for the robbery charge, but please hold someone accountable, say something. And I'll share something with you about his mother that they're so, feeling so great about in a second that Richard found. So what does this say? In February, APD received a report of a juvenile that was sexually assaulted multiple times in 2017. Detectives working the case were able to establish that that the 3 incidents took place when the victim was and were committed by the same individual. Detectives obtained an arrest warrant. He was located, taken into custody. Following his arrest, he attempted to run away from the transporting officer when they quickly arrived at the jail on the 3rd floor of the parking garage. So he fled by foot. He jumped a railing, but was quickly caught. Got his simple escape. He was charged with second-degree sexual assault, attempted second-degree sexual assault, third-degree sexual assault, and simple escape, and was booked. Now, what ended up happening? That he got the charge, right? So there's another article here. I can't, and I'm going to do this quickly, and then we're going to do one more hearing, which is a wild one. But I have the stream starts in 40 minutes. I have to have this done in 40 minutes. upload it to YouTube for you guys. I'm literally doing this with like seconds to spare. You know what? So I don't know. I can't spend more time looking at it. To you some Facebook posts. I'm not going to screen share it because I don't know the the policy, but I'll screen. So his mother, the one that they, so his sister, he blames the sister, right? His girlfriend, he blamed it on her. She writes a post, I am the girl's sister. I was dealing with him at a point in his life. His mom is trying to make it as if it's because of the situation between me and him had doing on that, and that I set her up to say that. In this reality, I knew nothing of this until it just came out, and I would never play with someone's life in this matter. But what I will say is, God don't sleep. You can try to make it as if the situation is the reason this one came about, but it's not. What you don't know is that your son was doing narcotics. He was breaking into people's houses, plus more on narcotics. So I don't put it past him. These type of things traumatize kids and scare them, so they don't just come out and say it, but they start acting out in many ways. And then his mother, the one who they feel so great about, said, my son is far from perfect, but he's made mistakes, but sexual assault is not one of them. She doesn't even mention that it's a child, right? Was getting involved with the sister who vandalized his car, and we pressed charges on her, and this is her way of getting back at him. Anyone who knows the family would understand. So everyone just knows two sides to the story. My son is innocent until proven guilty. God got this. So there you go. Go jump into the final hearing, and this one might take the cake. Okay.
My name is David Hudson, and what number?
What's your DOC number?
Yeah, I hear that's a order.
Which,
This is order?
Mr. Lionel, you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can. Would you tell us your name and DOC number?
My name is Lionel Hudson Sr. My DOC number is 105175.
Yes, sir. Let me recognize that we have David Hudson, your nephew, who has joined us. He's just observing today, but he is here in support.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Cheryl Renatza, serving as chairman of your parole panel, and my colleagues today, seated to my left is Mr. Danny Byra, to my right, Mr. Chuck Tillis. I'm going to read some information, Mr. Hudson, ask you to confirm that information, and then we're going to conduct a parole interview.
Okay.
So, Mr. Lionel Hudson, you are classified as a third felony offender. You are currently serving a 3-year, 6-month sentence. You were sentenced in Rapides Parish, January 18, 2023 for aggravated battery. You received 3 years, 6 months. You were sentenced for cruelty to juveniles. You were sentenced to 3 years, 6 months. And then attempted indecent behavior with a juvenile, also 3 years, 6 months. And all those are running concurrently. So your total sentence is 3 years, 6 months. Your parole eligibility date is later this year, December 10th of 2024. You don't earn good time, so your full term date is October 25th of 2025. Does all that sound correct to you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Hudson, how old are you, sir?
I'm 72.
And how long have you been in jail on this charge, these charges?
From Tuesday, April 22nd of 22 to now.
So 2 years? About a little over 2 years?
Yes, ma'am.
So you've served a little over 2 years of your 3.5-year sentence. So this crime occurred when you were 69 or 70?
70, I think around 70.
Probably just turned 70. Why don't you tell us what happened? Why are you in jail?
I think that I got in the way of money. And,
How so?
man,
How so?
the young lady that I was with at the time was an SSI recipient, so was I. And when we met a few months later, she asked me to be her paid representative. I didn't really care to make that move, but after about 6 or 8 months later, and she kept asking, I went on and made the move because I saw that that was a misappropriation of the funds. And after I did that, everything, like that bottom fell out of everything as far as this situation. Yeah.
And what does that have to do with attempted indecent behavior with a juvenile and cruelty to a juvenile?
I believe that, first of all, let me say this to you. I'm a parent of 10 children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and I've never indecently exposed an indecent any child. I've never abused any child. I've never aggravated, battered any child. I've been aggravated, battered, but I've never in 72 years, man, have I ever done these things. And I'm being accused for them, and because of the situation and for the children's sake, I didn't want them to go through all of this, running back and forth, in and out of the courtrooms and being questioned and dug into and all that. So I pled for the charge.
So I hear what you're saying, and I just, why would a child make that allegation to their school counselor?
Your question is just as heavy as mine. I asked the same question. Why? I mean, why would this come about? The children was with everybody. They was with the mother people. They was with, mostly with me and the mother's people. And most of the time, I didn't very much, stop them from not seeing their people, or it wasn't my place to stop them. But I feel that when they made this move on this SSI, and I believe they used the children, these folks used the children to get me where I am.
I don't understand that. How does that benefit anybody?
Well, they got the money. Got rid of me, and they got the money.
Right. What you're saying is certainly doesn't jive with what's in the record that we're looking at. I have concerns about you. Let me tell you what I wrote on my, aside from this conviction, how many times would you say you've been arrested, Mr. Hudson?
Ma'am?
How many times would you say you've been arrested?
Couldn't recall. 15, 20 times, different little infractions.
Yeah, I counted 48. Does that sound right to you?
Could be.
Lots of, drug charges, many worthless checks. It seemed like that you're the one that had an issue with money. Worthless checks, numerous occasions. I will say this, that I have noted in the record that you have done some programming. In April of this year, you did the 100 hours completed, rather, the pre-release 1 and 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Have lots of support in the record. You have your brother David, who's here with us today, asking. I think he seems to be a little confused. He's asking for a pardon, but we're here for a parole hearing today. We have from Esther, from the detention center, and others. So you do have a lot of support in the record.
Yes, ma'am.
We do have opposition also. We have, your sentencing judge is opposed, the district attorney's office is opposed, the police chief in Alexandria is opposed. Why do you think we should give you consideration for early release?
I think that I deserve a chance to go back, not to go back from where I came from, but to start from here and to look forward and to setting a better format for my life. I have a 8-year-old son out there. That's I need to make a home for, give him a quality state of living, educate him for the little time that whatever God has for me left here on this earth, to have that chance and the opportunity to do it for him, and as well for myself. From this point on, not from the back side of the matter, from this point forward.
Yes, sir. I don't have any other questions. Any questions, Mr. Byron?
Yeah, the 3 victims in this case, what's your relation to them? Are you related to them?
No, sir. They were the children of my, at the time, of my fiance.
All 3 of them?
All 3 of them, yes. 2 boys and a girl. And there were 5, and only one of them was mine. The baby boy was mine. But the rest of them, I'm the only father that they know, because the fathers passed away, and some of them.
The 9-year-old boy that was the victim of the aggravated battery, is that your son, or is that her son?
The aggravated battery was
9-year-old boy, initials RJ. Her son?
9 years old. Randall is 20.
Back then, or 19 years old. 19, I'm sorry.
19, yeah. He's that's her oldest son.
All right. And the police report says that in that aggravated battery conviction, the boy was beat with a pipe, an extension cord, and sticks. What could he do to deserve that kind of a whipping?
I don't know, because I never struck any child with a pipe and an extension or a stick. I've never done it. But I can't understand why that would even come up. I do understand it, because they wanted me out of the way. If you saw these children then, sir, if you saw any of those children then, the children was well taken care of, they were well manicured, they had haircuts, and the girls had hairs done. They were taken care of. I managed to work with this young man, my son, I call it. I got him through high school, got him a high school diploma. I worked with him through ROTC. I worked with him through basketball games. He'd come out of school with a high school diploma with honors, and he's a kid of special needs. All of these children, and all of them, we took care of. And we didn't take care of them with pipes and sticks and extension cords. I'm 72, the youngest of 10. I've never been hit with an extension cord. So I don't know why that would come up in the way I do. I was in the way of something, money. Here I am. And they got,
basically, you're pretty much in denial of all of the charges that you are convicted of. None of them you did. And I'm looking at the bill of information that was filed in the attempted indecent behavior with a juvenile. You originally billed with second-degree rape that got reduced to attempted indecent behavior with a juvenile. Just say that to point out that what you didn't do was pretty serious. Tell us, how are we to think that after you had an arrest record with 40-something arrests for all kinds of different crimes, why would the board believe that you could change this behavior now? I know you're 72 and you're getting up there, but tell us, give us something where we can, you know, feel it a little bit for you, because I'm not feeling it right now.
I had, from the time I was in the system before up to now, served 38 years. I haven't written a hot check in 40 years. The group from that, it wasn't a thing that I was so much in need. I was just young and stupid at the time. And I grew beyond that state of my life. Any other part of it, I've grown beyond the states of that person. And I believe and I feel beyond any shadow of a doubt in my heart. And I'm no longer that person that did those things, wrote those checks, drove the car without the driver's license, had the drugs, had that. I don't do any of that. I've been pretty much clear and level-headed up until these last matters that are taking place here now, that I'm here for now.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hudson, anything else you want to say to us?
No, ma'am, I think that's all I need to say.
I think we are prepared to vote. Mr. Hudson and I'll be voting first. You know, I hear everything you're saying, and I hear your allegations that this had to do somehow with money. But it's just, we do have information that from the current caregiver of the children, that they are minors, at least, I think they're still minors, are still suffering from what occurred in that household. You know, the information that we have, there is some evidence of, there was an arrest in 2000 for simple battery. There's another prior arrest for aggravated battery. I just find the evidence in the record overwhelming. And you got a short sentence. You have a full-term date coming up in October of next year. You seem to be doing well. You're at. Based on the opposition that I see in the record that I've mentioned to you, my vote today is going to be to deny you parole. Mr. Byron.
I concur with Ms. Renat's. I vote to deny the parole based on the seriousness of this crime committed on 3 separate victims, the strong victim and law enforcement opposition, and the lack of programming while you've been incarcerated.
What's the programming?
You haven't attended a whole lot of treatment classes or things like that.
I've attended all the classes that they have here.
Then we're voting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I concur.
All right, so today, Mr. Hudson, your parole's been denied. I would strongly recommend that you inquire there at the facility about victim awareness class. If they offer it, you should take it.
Victim awareness class. Victim awareness class. This entire hearing makes me sick. This is the epitome of disgusting. Where is the, you know, the two-facedness of the judge and the DA, that they have the audacity to say, we oppose of his, you oppose? That's why you gave him 3.5-year sentence for all those things that he did, and you had the audacity to say, I oppose? How about I oppose of giving him those sentences to run concurrently? you have to sit through the hearing where Ms. Renato is actually like being kind and giving him the time of the day and like saying, well, I think that it seems that you probably did things because it's not adding up and you have those things in the record and, so you should take a victim awareness it'll be all better after that. Sorry if I'm just so pissed off. Richard Evans, he was pissed off. He had to stop watching. I get it. And there's not much. He has like an habitual offender appeal. I'm not going to go through it. I don't have a lot of time. I got 20 minutes to edit this up YouTube for the stream. So, but something that is very, 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 very disturbing, it shook me to my core, is I'm not going to share it again because I don't know YouTube, but in his Facebook profile picture, he's listed as a minister of gospel music, the president. That's what he works at. Gospel music. He's in a tie, multiple pictures, his big banner, and guess he's got a little boy sitting on his lap in picture after picture after picture after picture. And it's just scary. And you know what he did. He has victims. I mean, I believe guilty, this, that, but it's terrifying to think that all he got was a 3.5-year sentence. That's it. That's it. It's like, oh, he wants to get out on parole now. He takes not only takes no, he lies, and not only is his lie makes no sense about money. They can't get your check. It's your check. They can't deposit your funds. It doesn't even make sense. How many arrests do you think you had? Oh, I don't know, 15, 20. How about 48? 48. Well, we heard you beat him with this, and you beat him with that, and you beat him with this, and he didn't. Well, I was the youngest of 10, and I was never bitten with an extension cord. Oh, but sticks and pipes. Unbelievable. You can't make it up. How is it that someone like this, with all of those arrests, with a prison record, he was a habitual offender bill for something which is what Richard shared. It goes all the way back to 1985. The guy has been like in prison forever, and then a judge found, the TA said, what's the big deal? This child went to the teacher, went to his school and said what was happening. And that's all they get? That's the justice you give this little baby? Sick! It's sick! It's a broken system. You get more time for purse snatching. You get more time for many possession, not even with intent to distribute. And you get this little sentence. You can't make it up. I'm sorry. I got to get this stream ready for you guys. Thank you, Richard, for making sure that this all happened. And with that, I'll let you go.